Hello, everyone. Good evening, morning, or night, depending on which part of the globe you're tuning in. Welcome to this week's installment of DappRadar Market Movers. My name is Pedro, and I'm the senior blockchain analyst here at DappRadar. Today, we'll be discussing a topic that I guess it has floated around your head for quite some time now, and we will be talking about why NFTs appear to be resisting the latest crash in cryptocurrencies. Interesting topic. I mean, why do NFTs are actually increasing their value while the other assets are not? And to discuss this topic, I want to welcome today's guest, Boris Ribo. How are you doing today, Boris?
Hello, Pedro. Glad to be here again. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, great to have you here back. Good. Before we start, as always, we'll be recording the session for you people to catch up later. And if you miss any of our previous shows, you can get them on YouTube channel. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, since reaching an all time high on November 10, Bitcoin has found itself in somehow of a downward trajectory. And as we know, Bitcoin, rules in the entire cryptocurrency market. But what are the reasons behind this negative trend? So, we can turn out our attention to a series of macroeconomic events, a series of factors that affect cryptocurrencies from a more global perspective. First, we start with the issues that surrounded Kazakhstan around November. Energy issues pointing out to Bitcoin mining as a supply problem in that region. So that created a negative narrative around Bitcoin, around how people really perceive this cryptocurrency. Then on December, we experience factors that affect more the traditional markets, what we call the capital markets. The fear of Omicron, the unease about the imminent raise in interest rates by the Fed, and the latest conflict in Ukraine that appears to be now cooling down. But again, summing all these factors together create a negative effect in the traditional markets. And as we know, we are still experiencing a high correlation between cryptocurrencies, mainly Bitcoin, and what we call capital markets. I know, Boris, that you have an extensive background in the traditional finance industry. So I want to know your input about this situation first.
Yeah, so I personally come from private banking sector when it comes to investment. So handling portfolios for very affluent individuals. Uh, what I can say is that the direct correlation between crypto markets and the capital markets, a lot of what people do is that they tend to consider them as two opposing factors to each other.
Yeah.
Whether that, if the traditional markets are going down, then by some logic, then crypto markets should be up. I view it completely differently. And if we view the capital markets as an inverse pyramid, and that the base value of capital markets, you have your fixed income securities, so bonds, debentures, um, and other fixed income instruments. Then you have your blue chip stocks, and then out of the blue chip stocks, you got your small cap, your mid cap, small caps. You've got your options, and then I would say on the top of that pyramid is where you'd have crypto assets, and crypto assets are, I would say, an extension of growth stocks, something that you would see on the Nasdaq. So like something like Netflix,
Yeah.
Activision, Blizzard, and of course they're closely connected to chip makers like AMD, like Nvidia, and many others. So I would say that because cryptocurrencies are themselves very volatile, very precarious investments that demand that the user has to have very extensive knowledge and understanding, and also have to have a very high risk appetite to be involved in that market. What usually happens is that when markets begin to tumble, people quickly swap all their assets into something that's traditionally expected to be a lot more stable. So, and that's something that
Yeah.
we've seen as soon as the Fed saying that we're going to start raising rates. As soon as the whole Ukraine crisis happened, what did we see? We see a traditional move into defensive and anti-cyclical stocks. So we saw an increase in commodities like gold, metal commodities like gold, metals, what have you. The price for other commodities like coffee, grains, and the meat futures went up. And in the same time, we saw increase in traditionally banking associated stocks. So your oh, Bank of America,
Yeah.
your Goldman Sachs, and all the other traditional investments. So that's how the markets pivot. And then once the situation, don't want to predict anything, but usually as we see the pattern has evolved over the past 10 years or so, every time where the crisis, this is what happened. When the crisis diffuses itself, people start becoming more risk friendly and they start pouring the money into what we traditionally discover are growth stocks. So your Nvidias, your Activision Blizzards, your Amazons, and your small caps, unicorns, whatever that's happening right now. And that usually also strongly correlated with crypto.
Yeah, I mean, S&P 500 and Nasdaq are almost 30% down, which is almost as bad was like in the first COVID drop we saw in March 2020.
Yeah.
But apparently, one type of assets seems that they really don't care about economics, politics, or anything. Like, who is Adam Smith, right? And we're talking about NFTs. Recent analysis shows that NFTs from certain collections, of course, not all, have not only increased their value in ETH, which means that their floor price on which they are valued has been increasing recently. But holding an NFT and what it would represent in terms of real value, real USD, is on the rise as well, despite the price of the underlying asset, which in this case we will be focusing on Ethereum collections because, I mean, Ethereum NFT holds around 75% of the volume generated in NFTs. Despite the price of ETH going down as much as 50%, there are certain collections, there are certain NFTs that are actually making their owners quite profitable. So let's start diving deeper into some of these collections because it's really interesting to see what's happening on that side. And like last week, we will start with the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And the Bored Ape Yacht Club combines a lot of success factors. They have a brilliant team behind. They have an enticing roadmap which rewards owners with utilities in the form of NFTs. And it's rumored that they will it's soon to be launch a token, but nothing confirmed yet on that side. Actually, it's interesting. Holding a Bored Ape Yacht Club from November 10, which is the price where Bitcoin and Ethereum reached their previous all-time highs, and compare it to the floor price that we have currently for the Bored Apes, we see a 200% increase in terms of Ethereum. But most importantly, 65% in terms of USD. This means that the Bored Ape Yacht Club single-handedly are basically outperforming Ethereum for almost 100%, right? Because if you do the math, the price of it is decreasing 50%. So if you invest $10 in ETH, you will now have $5. Whereas if you invested $10 in Bored Apes, which we all would like to invest $10 in Bored Apes, you would now have around 165, 170, $17, which is an impressive performance. But this is not only happening in Bored Apes. One collection that also stands out is The World of Women, a collection that has a cultural impact, a collection that has targeted a segment, right? The feminine segment that is not very seen here in the Web3 industry, but they are doing and performing quite well. Holding a World of Women NFT in terms of feed could give you a 500%, almost a 500% profit. And in terms of US dollars, it's almost 200%. So you start to see that trend, right? NFTs are not only increasing their value and maintaining it, they are really giving you a nice profit. From an investment perspective, they are really the perfect investment vehicle as how the market stands. And we see other collections like Cyberkongs, the voxel versions of them, which are Cyberkongs VX, Forgotten Room Wizards, which is a collection that it's not so popular, but they have been performing quite well. I'm gonna give you some numbers for the Forgotten Room Wizards. In terms of Ethereum, the floor price of Forgotten Room Wizards have risen 215% in the last 60 days. And in terms of dollars, you would be up like around 140% if you have invested in a Forgotten Room Wizard around November. So again, we see a trend. Um, and of course, there are a lot of factors that contribute to NFTs becoming, let's say, another type of asset, and they're consolidating themselves as units of storing value. I want to ask you, Boris, in your experience, what do you see that might contribute to NFTs becoming this type of assets that can really maintain their value despite the challenging environment in the markets overall?
Well, to me, this the fact that a not only did they retain their value, but they also appreciate it. That to me is a very
Yep.
strong indicator of a still a very strong bullish market. Because um, to the laws of economics still apply, and I hate to be that guy, but a pullback in the prices of Ethereum by more than 50% is essentially a fire sale, and so everything's got essentially cheaper. So everybody who wanted to buy, myself included, wanted to buy an NFT that was previously maybe slightly outside our purchase preferences, now are completely available. So people are buying everything that they wanted to buy with the hopes that those collections or those assets will appreciate in the future. And so there is very increased trading activity right now at reduced prices. So this to me just seems that the market are understanding that this is only a temporary correction, and everybody views this as a potential to invest now with the hope of the assets appreciating later on in the future. Um, and I already interwove with my second point in there, but as laws with everything, when the prices decrease, the economic activity increases. So
Yep.
this essentially signifies that people are like not only in NFTs, but throughout the blockchain, people are going to see increased trading in other apps and swapping one currency to another, buying NFTs and playing games or anything that involves Ethereum transactions is going to see increased activity.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Although I think there is still a question that needs to be answered, right? Because if we stick to economic theory, the law of demand and supply, it's basically based on the consumer's preferences, right? If
Yeah.
you move the consumer's preferences, you will move your line of demand. So again, a question, and I have my answer, but I want to know yours first.
Mhm.
Personally, what makes you invest in NFTs? Like, okay, they are cheaper now, so that doesn't mean because they are cheaper, I would want to invest. There must be something in the end, in the back end, that makes you feel the need for investing in NFTs. Why is that?
Well, again, I can't speak for everybody, but
Of course, yeah.
for myself, the reason I bought one is that I was eyeing this. This was not an investment in a traditional sense because I viewed it as a vehicle. It was more of something that invested for my personal interest, and I'll be probably using that as my avatar in the future because I
Fair
like to
enough.
because I like to support that artist. But from a purely economical standpoint. Um, I believe that because there's a certain pedigree that's already established with certain collections like Bored Apes, like CryptoPunks, and many others, that they have achieved a lot of social capital, and there is very strong interest behind them. That those collections are essentially act like blue chips right now. same way
Mhm.
as Microsoft, Amazon, and whatnot. Sure, there will be corrections here and there, but in essence, it's a very secure place to store your money because that foreseeably, bar some catastrophic incident, hopefully that's not going to happen, but bar some extremities, those assets are going to retain value, and this is what I would see that those collections essentially achieve. They people view them as blue chips, and investing in them will essentially retain your value and appreciate in the future.
Correct. One of the things that stand out to me, and this is for very a few collections, but still it's important. Um, the cultural impact that we are already seeing in NFTs. Probably it's a bit of a reach what I'm going to say, but what we see like in pop culture, like the Campbell's soup of Andy Warhol. Could it be possible that 40 years from now we will be seeing Bored Ape Yacht Club in the same way? I'm not sure. But what is sure is that they are, as you said, Boris, they are units of store value. On August 23 of last year, CryptoPunk number 7610 was purchased by Visa for $200,000, and they publicly announced that they were purchasing this CryptoPunk purely as an investment vehicle. And then we saw 101 board apes being sold on Sotheby's, if I'm not mistaken, for $1 million. So the cultural impact that NFTs are having is transcending beyond the blockchain. We are seeing NFTs being auctioned in important houses like Christie's, right? Where the Beeple's 500 days generated 69 million, and so on. The list can go on. So, number one, we have now the cultural impact that certain collections like CryptoPunks or Bored Apes are already generating. A second point that I consider as a reason why NFTs are resisting the crypto crash is that NFTs are finding the way to reward their holders, their community. They are nurturing a community, they are bonding a group of people and making them proud to be part of their group. This is the case, of course, of the Bored Apes, but let's talk about another collection because if not, we're going to stick only with this one. We
Mhm.
see, for example, cyberconks, right? And you already know that cyberconks, if you own a Genesis Kong, you will receive 10 banana tokens daily. And with the current prices, even though they are more than 60% down from the price they saw in October, November, you would still receive $250 daily. Not bad, right? And
Yeah.
the same goes with subdogs, and the same goes with other collections, either in form of NFTs or either in form of tokens. And I know you've been working lately a lot and focusing in trying to understand what types of utility NFTs might bring to their users. So, not sure if you want to highlight any other besides these yield bearing tokens and NFT, yeah, additional NFT drops.
Uh, I am actually working on a uh, how best to phrase it, on a benchmark for
Okay.
utility, and how to appraise it is something in the works. But generally, you can characterize the utility of a different. Generally, utilities can be categorized into um, different pigeonholes. Um,
Yep.
a lot of them have different value to the user. They're from universal to very specific, very niche ones. Universal, I would consider something that is directly or easily convertible into liquid means. Something like banana tokens, a lot of other NFT collections, especially the ones that I covered recently, also are seeking to reward users with potential drops in the future. If it's like a lot of avatar collections are doing now, and they're promising metaverse exclusive drops, they are promising merch in the future, and so that's one avenue. There'll be
Yep.
universal NFT rewards, and of course NFTs is always great. so that in the future you can, you essentially get free money that is going to appreciate as well. I mean, BayC did.
Correct.
I hate to harp on, but BayC did something very similar, and then you just see something that's already worth a lot of money appreciate. Like it's essentially getting free dividends from your initial investment. Then you've got something that going from universal to more niche, and we're going into VIP events and parties. So far, as mentioned in our last Discord, is that BayC is the only one, at least to my knowledge, the only NFT collection that successfully hosted a party where people got together, where people got to show off their
Yeah.
avatars and to engage with each other. And
Yeah.
that for the NFT community, that's great. That's essentially what will drive the community forward. But that depends on what kind of user you are. Sometimes, anybody can be an NFT user, and if you perchance live in the wilderness of Australia, or you just live in a completely different part of the world altogether where that particular physical event may happen, you may not necessarily get a lot of leverage out of that. And
Yeah.
then going,
Sorry. Go
no, no,
ahead.
no, 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 I was done. Sorry. Please do rebuttal.
Fair enough. So, yeah, I think you touched two important points. The first one is that utilities might not remain only tokens and NFTs. There is also what is happening is there is a convergence, if we can call it that way, between NFTs and other categories like DeFi and games, right? There is that example of an NFT collection by Pixelbolt, which is called the Meta Hero Universe Identities. And you can stake actually your Pixelbolt tokens and stake for either POW token or another POV token, right? So
Mhm.
you start to see these DeFi features embedded into NFTs. And also, of course, there is that big potential that NFTs will have blending with games, right? And that is material for a whole different conversation. But I want just to put that into the table. But also, I like that you said that one thing that one type of utility is in real life merchandise, and it's good that you touched that point because I want to emphasize and probably move to another factor that we see why NFTs are holding their value is the teams behind the projects, how the teams behind the projects are becoming brands. And to present this factor, I would like to revisit the example of Artifact, the team that launched CloneX very successfully. Artifact is well known in the world of Web3, of for focusing on creating virtual apparel for the metaverse use. So, how are they becoming a brand? By doing successful partnerships like the one they did with the Meta Pigeon with Jeff Hall, by successfully launching an avatar NFT, and by having a very inclusive and detailed roadmap of what they want to achieve and how they are achieving these milestones to become these metaverse leaders. So this is another example of why an NFT is holding its value. If we go to visit, if we go to analyze the performance of CloneX, we see that even though they were launched in late November, in December probably, they are still 20% off up in terms of real value. So holding a CloneX in from that time could give you it might not sound much, but it's still 20% off, right? So still again in green territory, profit territory. So again, a big win for teams becoming brands. And the last factor that I want to mention of the positive macro trends that we are seeing in NFTs is how involved celebrities and big brands have been lately in NFTs. It's not something new. We have seen this since basically last year. Steve Aoki, Pranksy, this famous NFT collector, and many other celebrities have been riding this NFT wave for quite a while. However, it appears that recently more influencers, more celebrities from different industries are becoming part of the NFT club. I don't know if it was Monday or last weekend when Neymar, the Brazilian football star, joined the Bored Ape Yacht Club. The same goes to Kevin Hart. And today, I think you told me that Gwyneth Paltrow joined also the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
see, yeah, I mean, you see these celebrities joining Bored Apes, and of course, you want to be part of that exclusive group. The same happened to the World of Women collection. Eva Longoria joined the World of Women. I think it was last week, and the collection floor price drastically increased, right? Like a 30% increase just because Eva Longoria joined your collection. So these celebrities have a big influence in the people out there. So it's also a good sign that big brands, also like Adidas, of course, Twitter and so on, are getting themselves immersed into this Web3 environment. So just to recap quickly, four factors that we see: it's the cultural value and adoption that NFTs are having, the utility that they provide their owners. They are not only becoming assets of storing value, but they are also assets that are providing you with more tools to become more and more wealthy.
Yep. And
Team
access as well.
yeah. And what, sorry?
And also wanted to touch upon that. They also provide you access to all sorts of other different spaces. Like, and this is becoming a lot more what used to be, science fiction. Now everything is going into the metaverse, and we are going to see the important. Like, it's not a big deal now, but the importance of access to places and items in the metaverse is going to become very big
Yeah.
as metaverse keeps evolving. So that's also a play for the future, but it is going to be extremely heavily monetizable.
Yeah, correct. The decentralized and interoperable metaverse is what we all dream about. And I mean, it seems each day it seems closer to happen. But yeah, good point. Nice remark. The involvement of celebrities, again, people that have a lot of social reach, massive social reach, and a lot of influence in many of us. And finally, how the teams are becoming true brands that represent their ideals inside this metaverse that you have just told us about. Cool. So I would like to stop now and ask our audience. Please don't be shy. Ask your questions. Any question regarding why NFTs? Why do you think NFTs are keeping their value while we are seeing basically the crypto crash burning down? We have one question.
Zizo. There we go.
Hey,
Hey,
so
Hello.
I think it's related to the project hype, like how the utilities, gaming, um, how the project is gonna grow, especially the community. These are all key points for how the project defines the NFT itself. The NFT is just like a key access for the project.
Uh, can you be more specific in the question? Sorry, or do you understand it, Boris?
No, I was going to say, could you specify what you mean? I mean, it is true
Yeah,
that NFT's utility is highly dependent on the project, but
like
what do
for
you mean by
example, you could use your NFT as a way to license it in a media studio, decentralized.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that are also being bullish about NFTs is while these factors are going to help us get the adoption needed, people, I think, are starting to realize the real potential of NFTs. Because for now, we are only seeing it as probably a domain or probably an in game item or your avatar picture. But the truth is that potential is huge.
Yeah,
There is, for example, the blend between music and NFTs or tickets to concerts and events and becoming NFTs will basically create a positive impact in the society. One, because you will start rewarding the artists in with royalties that are basically programmatic via smart contracts. So there's the risk of human error lowered down, and in the same time, you cancel out the black market that we all know that there is a big black market for music and tickets. So that's just one example of other use cases that we might be seeing in the near future being applied to NFTs. So it's not only about utility and or my project has utility or my project has celebrity. It's a combination of these factors that are making these NFTs unique. Actually,
I mean, we could also see like the next Hollywood uh, in NFT market.
the next what's free?
Hollywood, like in
Yeah,
Hollywood?
mm, yeah,
yeah. I mean, it feels like half of Hollywood is now in NFTs. Paris Hilton, Jimmy Fallon, Kevin Hart. I mean, on the music industry as well, Steve Aoki, Eminem, and so on. So the list can go on. So yeah, it's nice to see this adoption happening, and it's also nice that NFTs gives you an opportunity to share a Discord channel with Stephen Curry, for instance. So I mean, it's amazing.
like last week, Paris Hilton just did a giveaway with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he hosted on the Friday night or on the Saturday night show. So yeah, it was funny. So yeah, I mean, and we'll need to get used to more of this, and we embrace it. So yeah, good things.
Yeah,
Thank you
yes,
for the
thanks.
question, Siso.
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks for hosting.
Thank you.
Uh, go for us.
Hi,
Hello,
hello.
man.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can hear you.
Okay, I I was just willing to ask two things. First of all, it's like NFT emerged to be a new form of investment, but I think till now there is no protocol or something like that which assures the value of a particular NFT. And secondly, that if you are having one, so if you want to convert back that into into some token or something like that, you will have to rely on a marketplace where you will place your NFT for auction, and then when it will get sold, and then only you will get your money back. So don't you think it is a limiting factor which would be in future limiting that use of NFT by large mass?
What was the first question? Sorry.
So basically, till now, there is no protocol or something like that which will assure the value of your NFT, because
Okay.
it's basically on that
Yeah.
market or on the hype of that particular NFT, the
Yeah.
value is decided.
Yeah, it's quite difficult actually to assess the value of an NFT, and that's something that we are actually working on DappRadar. Uh, I invite you to explore our NFT estimator tool, on which you can select an NFT, and via a machine learning algorithm, we are trying to predict the best price, the best valuation for a certain NFT. So, for instance, if a Bored Ape number 5,000 was sold for average on the last 30 days for 45 ETH, but you see that the floor price of the other apes are increasing, we consider those factors and we try to give you the best estimate of what our algorithm thinks that might be the fairest price for your NFT. So yeah, it's not an easy task, and yeah, I mean DappRadar I think does that quite well. And the second point, of course, there is friction, and it's not with NFTs only. Of course, the friction between blockchain and the capital market is a hard one. It's a tough one, but I think this friction will be reduced significantly over the next year or two. Coinbase is launching an NFT marketplace where you are going to be able to purchase your NFTs with your credit card. Dapper Labs, the creators behind NBA Top Shot, allow you to purchase NFTs with your credit card. And in the same way, you can sell your NFTs and receive your money directly to your card. I think Coinbase will enable that feature too. Not sure about the selling feature, but I'm pretty sure that they will allow you to purchase an NFT with your credit card. So it will be only a matter of time that probably OpenSea and the other marketplaces will enable this feature. It's probably that we are going to see it also in running, for instance. So yeah, I mean that's a good point and something a challenge that it's quite present in our industry. And yeah,
Uh, if I may quickly comment on what was said, is that when you meant the protocol, and just to specify what was said, when you said a protocol that guarantees the value of something, um, from my understanding, is that nothing in? Do you mean guaranteeing like a minimum floor of the value, or guarantee it in a sense of that there is something behind it, I know, like money used to be guaranteed by the gold standard or by oil or by something. Would you mean by NFT should be guaranteed by something?
So basically, what I want to say, it's like a guaranteed by a floor price. That no matter what, it is the minimum value which will be always there for that particular NFT.
Well, you see, that's very subjective in the sense that it's the same thing with capital markets. No, nobody can guarantee you that a stock or actually even bonds are not guaranteed to hold value because of inflation and other factors. This is what comes with investment in capital markets. Everything is up to the flock. Some things are more volatile, some things are less volatile. But in the end of the day, in the world there are only two guarantees: there's death and taxes. So there's things, of course, that are more volatile and things that are less volatile. But I don't think it's possible to guarantee a minimum asset value of anything. There's just a speculation that some things will retain the value better than others. But in the end, all capital, and I do mean all capital investments, are speculative in one way or another.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing.
And when it comes to converting NFTs into more readily liquid assets, so I think you're going it from the perspective that if I have an NFT and I bought the NFT that I want to be easily, like for example, I don't know, you bought a Bored Ape, it appreciated in value, and you want to readily convert it into hard cash, like whether you prefer euros, dollars, or what have you. And that's a very good question, and I think we are slowly moving towards that. I mean, there are a lot of places where even when you're using decentralized exchanges, that you can essentially buy your Ethereum or any tokens that you want with your credit card, and we're slowly moving towards being able to easily convert them into hard cash as well. As the market becomes more open and there'll be more access to uh, a wider audience, this are the solutions that are on everybody's minds. I mean, I personally also am struggling with this, whether when you made profits with, just buying crypto or buying NFTs and whatnot, converting it into hard cash is a solution that everybody's working on, and it's going to come. And I'm sure that smarter minds than myself will come up with.
don't be humble, Boris. Don't be humble.
No, but
does
it's
that
Yeah,
does that answer your question, Gold Wars?
yeah, it it answered my question. One more thing there in my mind. Can I share?
Sure.
sure.
Yeah, I personally, I'm not quite fond of these NFTs, but I keep observing here and there that that NFT which are there, anybody can just be easily downloaded and make a clone out of it. So, are there anything coming in future that will stop that, and only NFT holders would be able to just get access out to it.
Do you want to do the honors, Boris?
Yeah, I think this is a fundamental misconception. Uh, uh, as a person who also is amongst other art circles, the ability to download and quote unquote steal a JPEG, it's nothing new. I mean, there are the artists who post their work on Twitter, DeviantArt, or any other forum where people share things. If you post anything on the internet, it's going to get taken. So if your view is that you're just buying the artwork, you have and I don't mean you specifically, I mean people have a very wrong understanding what NFTs are. Your ownership of that NFT is verified on the blockchain with the wallet that you own. And as I said, the greatest utility comes from the use comes with the secondary utility that comes with an NFT. So it's verifiable that you're the owner, and then you get access to staking, you get access to NFT drops, you get access to this, that, and the other. So therein comes the value. Whether if you're looking to just buy the art, again, you're also universally verifiable that you are the owner, and we're slowly moving towards that. I mean, Twitter is already allowing you to use your verifiable NFT that you are the true owner, and as NFTs become more and more prevalent and socially what's the word I'm looking for? Not sporadic.
Adopted.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, as they're moving towards wider adoption, we're going to see more technical solutions to verifying and preventing them to being stopped, so being copied by malicious players. So we are all moving there. That's the march of progress, whether people like it or not.
Yeah, the answer is blockchain technologies. So nothing will stop you from copy pasting on a JPEG. But proof of ownership is quite important in space, and that simple copy paste doesn't give you proof of ownership. So that's the answer to that question. Thank you, Golf Wars.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I think PB London was
Is next,
first
yeah.
here. Yeah.
London,
Hello.
sorry.
Hello, PB London.
No,
Okay.
he dropped out. All right, Baldy.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hello, welcome to the stage.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, all good,
very
man.
well.
You?
Great. So really back to the art and ownership thing. It seems like, if you produce 10 NFTs on one chain and it's a limited edition, somebody could also do the same on a different chain, and adding a contract to those NFTs to prevent that from happening. Really, a lot of that has to do with reputation. Am I right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, and so
Reputation and the name behind the real project. But yeah, go on.
exactly, and so with GameFi, it seems a little different that it also has utility as well as DeFi and a lot of other uh, spaces. But I'm in the GameFi, and
Yeah.
so utility has a lot to do with the value of the NFT, and I'm wondering how much membership, or how much traffic you have um, compared to the utility. Is it always going to be the more people you have, the more value the NFT is?
Well, in terms of GameFi, usage is king, right? However, talking about NFTs in general, it is not, because the supply of NFTs, that you probably know, is limited. So there won't be more than 10,000 unique owners of a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk. So in that regards, I wouldn't say so. However, the picture is quietly different in games. And not because of NFTs, but the more users a game may have, and the more users the game retains, the more successful the project will be. And a clear example is Axie Infinity, right? Um, it started with 300,000 users by mid-August, and now we're surpassing 3 million. So successful ways of implementing your game mechanics, making a game truly enjoyable and truly playable, not about a click mining game, are things that should be able to maintain their usage aboard. So afloat, sorry. So that's my take on GameFi NFTs.
And then how much do you think that bots and multi-accounting affect the value of NFTs? I mean, I'm in a game called Prospectors,
Mm.
and they just launched a new server, and we see a lot of multi-counters and bots in there, and a lot of people complain about that, which I understand, but at the same time, it seems like a little bit like it helps the economy by giving it more users.
I mean, it's the same rationale that follows the LuxRare marketplace. Artificial trading just is incentivized just to farm the Lux token. And in the same way, artificial playing is incentivized by certain games to make appear that their games are quite interesting and playable. So of course, bots have a negative impact. So how in the gaming community. However, it's not the end of the world. And in terms of how to value NFTs because of bots, it's quite a difficult answer to a difficult question to answer. But I would say, yeah, I mean, there's a negative impact in everything that it's artificial, and it's important to try to identify it as much as possible to really learn and know what the true organic activity or the true organic value uh, truly is. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah,
okay,
thank you.
good. All right.
You wanted to say anything, added something, Boris?
Yeah,
About
I kind
bots?
of I wanted to interject, but at that point,
Yeah,
the plot already moved on.
yeah.
And so I lost the initial conversation. So we were talking about how GameFi is poisoned by bots. Am I correct in that understanding?
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean how the bot activity in GameFi, which is quite frequent, might affect the value of NFT of game NFTs.
Well, I hate to say it, but bots are unfortunately here to stay, and bots
Yeah.
are can be malicious and beneficial. It just depends on what people use them for. I mean, we've got bots on Discord, bots that we use for administrative purposes, and bots that we use that people inject into different servers to spam and promote their projects or do whatever. So it's mostly dependent on the type of actors that are present there. And the way to get rid of the malicious bots is just to create systems that prevent them from entering, because a lot of them are coded by an algorithm. And from my experience, a lot of Discord channels and also in gaming as well, people are creating hurdles in the way that would, because creating a bot, especially for a script kiddie, is relatively easy. So creating a sophisticated filtering mechanism is going to remove a lot of the more prevalent malicious bots out there. So it's something that, again, it's an issue that's easily fixed, and people are already working on fixing it in the near future.
Yeah, and the problem is that while it seems that inorganic activity might be helping the industry, there will be a time where this is okay. We are proving that this is inorganic, so that's when the problem arises. Your value goes basically to zero because you were inflating those numbers. So it's a matter of when, not if. So yeah, not ideal. But
Great.
yeah,
That
thanks.
last little part really put it together well for me. Thank you.
Yeah, good one. Thank you for your question.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay. If not, I want to thank Boris for his valuable insights as always. And of course, a big thanks to you people for joining and being active within our community. Remember each week at the same time, Market Movers discussing different crypto topics, and the DappRadar Meet sessions where Ian talks down with relevant projects in the industry in his AMA weekly events. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter and social media channels on Twitter, Discord, and YouTube.
Sorry,
That's
we
all
have
for.
one last question. Actually, there's somebody just popped in.
Yeah, shoot it.
Yeah, I'll invite them quickly on stage, or just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Hello, Devon.
Yeah. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is my first time of joining. I just want to shoot this question. Will Radar be having some blockchain?
I apologize. Sorry, who's having a blockchain?
Hello.
Yes, hello. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Will Radar be having its own blockchain?
I mean, I'm sorry, but we cannot answer that question today, man. I'm quite sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
But we have launched the Radar token, and I mean, we track around 50 blockchain protocols, but yeah, not precisely can give you a precise answer right now.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Thank you for your question.
All right, no worries.
Thank you.
Any closing statement, Boris?
For myself, always happy to be here. Always happy to listen and to participate. I would like to say that everything that's going on right now, it's only transitory, and we're already seeing like I'm not a prophet, but it seems to me that all the major pressure that we're experiencing in the market right now, whether it be the crisis that's currently developing in Ukraine, the crisis that's happening in the stock market, it's all transitory. I mean, we already heard that the Fed is not going to increase rates in the near future. Russia is having talks of pulling out. They are, as far as I've been informed, that they're already removing their troops from the Ukrainian border with Belarus. And so the crisis is most likely is going to diffuse itself with nothing particularly, hopefully, with nothing particularly happening. And same way is once everything gone, things are going to go up and up. Also, the COVID crisis seems to be diffusing as well. So once economic activity is going to resume, everything is going to go back to normal. So
hopefully, man, that's the dose of hopium that we all need to hear. So yeah, it's great.
yeah,
Thanks for
hopefully
your
this
remarks.
this year is going to be a great year.
It's going to be. It's going to be.
Yeah.
So, thank you, everyone. Remember, each week, DappRadar Meet sessions with Ian, Market Movers each Thursday. Follow us on Twitter, Discord, and YouTube. And that would be all for today. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening and an amazing weekend, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Goodbye.